there was a very influential man that came and was in leadership during some time when I was there. His name's Lieutenant Colonel Lizaola, who is a very famous character in Mexico. One of the most famous lawmen in Mexico, basically. He had a documentary done on him.
I've heard of this.
Incorruptible dude, senor. Sorry, not dude. Man, he's still out there, and I'm probably going to talk to him pretty soon. He came out of the military. He's a teniente coronel. He was a lieutenant colonel. He came out of the war college. Amazing man. Fearless. When you talk about like superhero characters, like these men that you meet that are supernatural, that has to be one of them for me. The first time I met him, he came to Tijuana to take control of the institution that I was in, the organization that I was in. And the guy that I was working with as a bodyguard said, "You're going to drive him around." So I go over and I introduce myself. He looks at me. He looks at my equipment. He looks at all the stuff. Like he looks at my firearm and things that are on it. And he says, "Who got you this equipment?" It's like, "I did." "How'd you pay for it?" "With my salary." "Do you like this job?" So yes. What don't you like about it?" "I wish we had more support. I wish you had more training. I wish we had more equipment, and I wish we had better firearms." And he just nodded. And then I got into a car with him, and we started patrolling Tijuana the first night he was active. He would walk out of the car straight into shit, and I was supposed to be guarding him. And I was like, "Sir, you can't."
What kind of shit would he walk into?
He was cartel members being stopped somewhere and like surrounded, and he would just walk in. I was like, "Who are you? Like, who are you working for?" Like, this man was fearless, he was a fearless man. He had several assassination attempts on his life. Several. Like, they tried to poison him.
Is that something that when you walk into those situations like that, like you explained him walking into just a group of cartel guys and he was fearless, is that something they can sniff out very easily? Can they sense people's fear and they take advantage of that?
Yeah. I mean, they sense people not being too sure about what they were doing or like, "Oh, who are these guys? Are they who they say they are? Who are they calling? Who did they call before we stopped them?" You're watching your backs. You would stop some suspicious people, and you would have to put people on the sides of the road pointing at both ways in case you would get ambushed by somebody trying to rescue them or something like that. But he changed a lot of the ways we operated. He basically turned us into a counterinsurgency in a lot of ways. He started developing these nucleuses or cells of people that would move around the city at all hours of the night and operate. And nobody knew what was going on. They would just move around the city, and he would keep some of these groups on edge because where are these guys going? What do they know that we don't know? He got us better firearms. I remember we had one AR-15 in 223 and one in 9mm in the armory. And that's what we would roll with every night. Some of the cells that I would work with at night, that's what we had as far as to arm ourselves. We were moving 5-6 man strong groups, and all of a sudden, all of us were carrying around G3 assault rifles and G36s, and we had the full backing of the military, and now we were a thing to be feared. And we were operating in very much almost a counter-insurgency way against some of these groups. And we had the backing of the government at that time. So they were pretty behind his efforts. He changed a lot of stuff in there. He changed a lot of it. I think I remember the first thing that I kind of noticed is that he had a selection process as far as who was going to be in charge, and he put the standards in front of us. So it was no longer who you knew or who your compadre was as far as if you wanted to be in leadership. Now you had to prove yourself. It didn't last though. It lasted a few years, and he was moved. He did some great work in Tijuana. He was a police chief of the Tijuana Police Department for a while as well.
Oh wow!
He was the one that disarmed the whole of the police department in Tijuana, which was insane. Tijuana was basically without an armed police force for a few weeks because of him.
How did that happen?
He had the military with him.
Oh shit!
He surrounded them with the military, and they said, "Give the guns up." Specifically, he wanted those guns to go through forensics because a lot of them were being utilized as the murder weapons, because a lot of the municipal police department in Tijuana was not only undertake, but they were being utilized by some of the cartel forces to move drugs around and perform hits. He did such a good job that he was then sent by the federal government to take leadership of the police precinct in Juarez. And he did the same out there. He lowered the violence out there with the same approach he took in Tijuana. Politics change, amnesia comes in. So he was on his way out of Juarez, and he was with one of his kids, and he was shot in the back in his last assassination attempt, and lost the use of his legs.
Jesus.
When that happened, all of us were like, to the people that knew him and that worked with him, and it was kind of hard. But then he came back. He came back with a vengeance, and he politicized. He wanted to be the municipal president of Tijuana. So he's made the run on the office of that 3 times now, I think.
Really?
Yeah. I held a political rally for him at my family's house.
Where does he live now?
He's around.
Is he
he's in Mexico, but
he's in Mexico. Okay.
Yeah, but he's hard to find.
Right, for good reason.
But he is if there's anybody that people should look at as far as like, I think Mexico's lost, or I think there's nobody out there to trust, or nobody out there to kind of look at. They should look at him. I think he's what we need as far as a leader in Mexico right now. He has not only proven himself as a leader as far as some of these problems that we have in Mexico, but he's also there's a reason why they try to kill him so many times. It's because they couldn't buy him off. That's the reason why they tried to kill him so many times.